Good morning, everyone, or as we say it in French, bonjour. On behalf of all members, I, Shreya Rai, welcome you all to RSD 2021 Day 2, the annual research festival of IIT Madras. Today, we are having as a guest speaker a French science artist, Miss Adéle Tilouine. Pardon my French over here. So, what is science art, you may ask? It is exactly what she is going to talk about. Science art, the invisible world revealed. About Adéle, she is a member of IUCN, Associate Artist of TISBio Laboratory, which specializes in microscopy and co-creator of a science art collaboration. She has also won various grants and prizes like the Grand Prix, the Passion Jeune, etc. She aims to poetize scientific data and explore the aesthetics of microscopic universe through multiple media like photography, video, oil painting, etc. So, without wasting any further time, let's explore the connection between the intellectual and the artistic. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, I'm very happy to meet you. So yes, I want to thank you for inviting me today. I want to share with you what is my work as a science artist, because I'm guessing that most of you haven't heard of this. So I would love to share it with a PowerPoint. So if it's possible, I would like to share my screen.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Great. Apparently, I cannot share my desk.
There's this share screen option beneath.
Great.
Yes, we can see.
So, so I did not form for becoming a science artist. I did actually a formation in visual studies, and I did study actually history, art history, and anthropology. And I was specialized actually on medieval studies, so nothing to do with science. But I was really interested by science, and also I have the chance of having two parents who are researchers. Both of them are researchers, and my dad is actually a mathematician. And actually, my name is a joke of him. He is a great specialist of Adéle's ring, and my name is just an homage to his work. So I was like predestined to do science in a way. So after my formation in visual studies, I was actually really wondering what I would do, and I thought of the art market. So I became like a researcher for an expert. I became an art gallerist, art critic, art curator. I did many big exhibitions, mostly in France, but also in other countries. And after that, I decided that selling the art of others was not so fun, and that I wanted to create myself. And I wondered what could I do that would be interesting and unique. And at the time, I was really into anthropology and into, I don't know if you know of that, but the Aboriginal mapping of dreams. So the Aboriginal of Australia, they think of the time of the dream as the most sacred thing for them. It's the time when they meet their ancestors, when they meet their gods. And when they wake up, they do these cartographies of what they did in their dreams. It's a mapping of their dreams. And I was really into them, but we never know what scale it is. Is it big or is it small? And I was really interested by the scale issue. So I began to work on scales, and the macroscopic scale was a bit too infinite to me and too big and was a bit scary. And the microscopic scale was just a rediscovery of you and what surrounds you in just a scale that changed your point of view on it. For example, I'm really disgusted by blood or things inside my body like organs, but when I see them in a microscopic scale, I find them beautiful. And I thought that also when you are creating something about the microscopic scale, you can only reduce it. And when you create something with the microscopic scale, you enhance it and you highlight it because it's so small you cannot see it. So I wanted to reveal what was hidden. And my whole idea became to poeticize scientific imagery because I find it beautiful and I find it very interesting to change this point of view by just changing the scale. So this picture, for example, I guess you can recognize its blood cells. Actually, it's me, so it's my selfie. And I thought it was really interesting to rediscover my own body with just a change of scale. So I just was so interested by the microscopic scale that I decided to focus on it for years. And I began with a lot of shows in France and around the world and online shows. And I didn't add that, but also art fairs or like many events, all the events I could find, and talks and things like that. And I tried to do also some education about science art because it's not some, well, it's something very old actually. Maybe you've heard of Leonardo da Vinci. He was a science artist, and actually during the times there were many artists who were also scientists and scientists who were also artists. And so science art is not new at all, and it grew big during the 1980s, but even the 70s. It grew big at this time, and now it's becoming bigger and bigger. It's not very famous yet, but a lot of artists get inspired by science, as you know, with the new media, for example. So I did a lot of shows to get interest from people, and it worked because I got some awards for this work, and I've got some publications and labs working with me and things like that. But it's not something that I'm the only one doing. Science art is not just me. It's a big thing actually, and you should look at because it will become something, I think, with the NFTs growing, and I think it will rise. So I was really interested by Aboriginal art, as I said, and I began this series of cells mapping. So it's only oil painting with natural pigments, and I find them mostly in nature or online or during my travels. And I do actually my painting myself. So I use pigments like that, turpentine and oil lemon. It's actually a very old method that was created during the Renaissance. It's really the oldest method to oil paints. And actually, it's precisely what interests me because I wanted to mix this very ancient and traditional media with the aesthetic of the cells, which is very new because we need very specific tools to have access to this aesthetic. So that was my first series, actually. I began to paint it in 2014, 2015. Then I began this series of Cellular Mandala. I guess you know all very well what a mandala is. So I don't have to explain, but so I told you that both of my parents were researchers. So my dad, as I told you, was a mathematician, but my mom is an ethnologist and she is a specialist of Nepal. So I lived in Nepal and India for a long time as a child. Actually, one of my names is Parvati. So you can call me Parvati if you want. And so I was really inspired by this meditative art of recreating something about the order of the world and the cycle. And I transposed this paradigm to the microscopic aesthetic. So I created a big system with not just one. I created many big systems made only of cells with fractal shapes of cells declined in various size and uh, well, it's only fractals, but all these cells are creating a system because a cell cannot exist by itself, and a cell is also always a system. So I was really interested by transposing this contemplative, this contemplation of the world to the microscopic world, because I think the world is actually composed by this microscopic world. So I did many meditative pieces like that. Some of them, as you see, are very abstract, but some of them include figurative figures, because I was wondering if I could transpose affect onto the cells, because the cells are like scientific data and people do not get really attached to this kind of beauty. So I really wanted to do something where people can get attached to scientific data. And so I gave faces to all these cells, giving them an identity. And I actually choose to use women faces because scientists created themselves a female identity for cells. They talk about mother cell and daughter cells, and actually they create an imaginary world or where cells are women. So that brings us to this series, the Cell Women. So I've worked for years on female identity and the cells, because these cell women are neither just the mother or the daughter, they are all the possibility of the women. And they are actually wearing the cells, but the cells are also getting into them, because our cells need the cells of our surrounding, and we are composed by the same matter as all the animals or all the plants. So we are linked by our cells. So I worked on this series on many years. The painting in the middle won actually 2 prizes, one in the Salon d'automne in Paris. So I don't know if you know this, it's a big art fair in Paris. And I tried to give them more materiality. So I wanted to work on the female body and not just on the identity of an ideal female. So these mannequins are wearing cells as if it were like jewelry or clothes or accessories or maybe tattoos even. And it's a work on what is a body and what does it mean to wear something, because the body is a tool, but also a social image. And actually, when you're wearing something, you are most of the time trying to say something about yourself. If you are wearing something very colorful, maybe it's something like a big event, or you are very happy. If you are wearing something very covering, maybe it's because you don't want to be seen, or it shows something about your state of mind. And with this work, I wanted to show actually what they were composed of. It's not revealing your psychological nature, it's revealing your biological nature by wearing it. And so these two mannequins were very important to me, and I did some others, but they were the first two, and I still have them, so I'm very attached to them. And so I wanted, so my process is very simple actually. It's first, I'm very passionate about the microscopic scale. I want people to have a link with it. How can I create this link between the public and the microscopic data? And my way was to transpose imagination and affect on it. And after finishing these mannequins, I wanted to go more into the materiality. So I asked people to be cells and to give their identities to cellular tissues. So I took many pictures of still women wearing cells and giving me very strong expressions to illustrate them. So most of the time I would tell them what kind of cells it was, but sometimes they were not really aware of what it was. So the interpretations are really free. But as you can see, you have the free picture, the two pictures on the top part of the image are plant cells, and also the little girl is plant cells, and the two others are animal cells. But I did all kind of photos. And after the projections, I decided to directly apply the cells onto the face. So this is me wearing makeup. And I decided that I wanted to wear my cells as an ornament and to show what I was composed of. So I drew cells that I'm composed of, but also the middle one is plant cells, because I wanted to show that I am also my surrounding. So this piece is in three pictures, because it decomposes a process. It's the process of art creation with the doubt, the decision, and then the revelation. And I tried to show like what was for me the decision of working on science art. This is the piece that is my first big statement. After that, I began to work with the TISBio lab. So as it was presented before, it is a microscopy core facility in France, in the town of Lille, in the north of France. And I presented them an art project in 2018, my first collaboration with them. So this art project was called Cellular Mythology, and the aim was to take pictures with a microscope and to search forms with a psychological phenomenon which is called pareidolia. Pareidolia is the fact that your brain cannot just see something that is abstract. When you are seeing shapes like clouds or ink stings or things like that, you see things. You see animals or people, your brain wants to put something figurative in something abstract. It is every human have that, and it is very common. And I wanted to use this phenomenon to share what I can see into the cells and to create a link for people with the cells. So I wanted to create some mythological creatures living in the cells. So for example, this is cartilagena. It is a matrix of cartilagena of an ovary of a mouse. And I immediately seen this pregnant woman into this ovary. That was quite funny. And so I redrew it by hand and exhibited it with a text that I created with a scientist of Lille University, whose name is Jean-François Baudard. So these texts are actually a myth if you read it completely, but if you read only the characters in red, you can find another text which is hidden in the first text, and this text will give you scientific elements on what you are watching. So it is a work of science art, but also of innovative pedagogy, because you have to look for the information. It's not given to you. And we think that an information that you have to look for is always more precious and more important to you than something that is given to you. So we did a lot of creators with this process, but as I told you, I'm also an art historian, an historian, and an anthropologist. So I wasn't just looking for anything. I was looking for something that would make me think or of precise mythology. So for example, here you can see two divinities. The first one with the Greek nose, it's fat tissues. And the second one is muscle. So in the first one, it was quite easy to find the face of any Greco-Roman really divinity. Like every Zeus or Poseidon have this kind of nose. For the Maya aesthetic, it was quite easy also because, well, I have seen these stelas for a long time and I knew them very well. So when I saw the picture through the microscope, it was so evident and clear. I just had to take it. Of course, I did a lot of creators. So here you can find some of them. On the upper part, you can find frog skin and cartilagena of an ear. And well, I won't detail, but well, I did a lot of pictures. I did, I think, thousands of pictures with a microscope. I took 2 months in the labs to use all the microscopes and all I could get to take pictures. And then I took, I don't remember how many months, but months to create all the sketches and to create all the creatures and then to write the text with Jean-François Baudard. It was a very long process. We already presented this project during 2 exhibitions, and we will present it this summer in Lille, in the Fort du Vert-Galant. It will be a big exhibition called Esprit de Nature. It would be Spirit of Nature in English. So it will be the 3rd presentation. And this particular project gave also birth to a workshop called Cellular Heroes. And actually, I'm not really allowed to tell you because it was a secret that this workshop has got a big prize, and I cannot mention more, but this year it will get a big award. So this project of workshop I've done in Lebanon, in the Grand Lycée Franco-Libanais of Beirut. And I give the chance to the students of the Grand Lycée to recreate what I did with Cellular Mythology. So they had the same material as me, and they learned about microscopy. They took pictures themselves, just like me. They drew what they have seen, but in group. So they had to share their thoughts and to include the ideas of the others. And then they had to create the text. And the children in Lebanon are very, very bright. So they created the text in French, English, and Arabic. So they were like really, really consistent. And we did a very big exhibition with all their works. And unfortunately, right now, it's not possible to make the exhibition travel, but the exhibition is supposed to travel, and the works of the students are supposed to be shown in, I think, all Lebanon. So then, after working with this lab, I decided that I wanted to also work with other medias and with video and audiovisual. And I began this collaboration called TakT with Tyler Kaufman. So I am doing all the visual part of this collaboration, and Tyler Kaufman is doing the sound design. So if you want to learn more about Tyler, you can go on our website, but I will not expand on this subject. But we decided to work together in 2019, and we have created the science art project Scientific Emotions that you have seen for the virtual event Shunia. So Scientific Emotions is an art project that we began in 2019. And this project was the first project we actually really worked on. It was, the idea was to use scientific imagery and binaural beats to illustrate emotions. So I had to find scientific imagery to create something poetic and something artistic. And I wanted to get them out of their context to really poeticize them. So I used my connections with labs to get scientific imagery that would be legitimate and accurate, and that would be also recent, because I found many archives and I used them too, but it was not the most modern aesthetic. And I mixed these very old and new medias, and I tried to really use them as poetic images and to give them another meaning, actually, by combining them with others. It was like a poetic illustration, but also I did ask some scientists to explain to me what is really happening biochemically in your body during the emotions. So I tried to include scientifically accurate images into my videos. So you have seen the video, I guess, so I won't show it again, but I wanted to talk about this project a bit. So you have seen 6 emotions, but of course there are many emotions that I could illustrate. So this project is not actually finished. it has been presented already as it is, as you can see it, but I want to make it grow. And I just wanted to let you know that if any PhD student or researcher want to share the beautiful images that they are working with into art, they just have to contact me, because I will continue this project for years, I think. So I also wanted to talk to you about this art residency I did last summer in TISBio lab and the new project I'm working on right now. So I have this video I would like to show you. Oh. Oh. Sorry. So. So yeah, this work that I'm currently working on is called Microresidence Quarantine. So it is a reality show that is aiming to discover who is the best bacteria. So for this first episode, we decided to take the bacteria present on our hands. So the bacteria present on my hands were Escherichia coli, and the bacteria on my colleague Tyler's hand were cocci, and we took them under a microscope, and we had 3 rounds where they had to show who was the best. So I made a teaser for this experience, and I would like to show it to you. And I would love to discuss it with you afterward, because I'm currently working on this. So I think I have talked a lot, so I would like to thank you, and I would like to discuss with you. And maybe I will stop sharing my screen and see your faces, and maybe we could try and talk a bit.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was a really beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
So as we saw that microbiology helped you to create such beautiful art. So I would also like to know that how history and anthropology helped you in your art.
Um, I think that the scale thing is really something that is very personal, I think, because I am really fascinated by the microscopic world. So, and I have been all my life. When I was a child, I was not very good at science, but I was always interested by what was hidden, all the things I could not see. And that was really something very important for me. But I think I feel interested by the fact of um, making it big, making it matter, because what is hidden most of the time is considered not important. And I think actually it is the most important part of what is us, what you cannot see, what is inside our mind, what is inside our body, how it goes. And I feel like it's something even sacred, something like that, yes. And that's why I try to find the mythology in cells. I think it's because I want to show the fundamental aspect of what is a cell. It's the beginning of life, you know, and it's a symbol. It's a symbol that is the fertility, but also the link between all the living creators. So the scale is something really important in a philosophical way for me. But I think like the map is I'm really interested by systems, and I think like a map is the basic system, you know. You have to know the topography of anything to learn it at any scale. And that was also what was interesting. The microscopic and the microscopic scale they look like the same thing most of the time, and they are always a system. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. It is always a topography, actually. So that's why when I'm not trying to create an identity to cells, I'm trying to map them. That's the big themes of my work.
Okay, quite interesting to interconnect every science and history, maths and art.
Thank you.
So we also heard that you have visited many countries like India and also how that culture has helped you in your art and in your career.
Uh, yeah, I lived in India as a child. Actually, it was absolutely great. Well, so my mother is a specialist of Nepal, but as you know, there was a war in Nepal, so we had to go to India so she could continue her researches. And I was so happy there. I was taking Bharatanatyam lessons, and I was really learning a lot more than in school, because when you're a child, people want to teach you, and they were saying a lot of very interesting stories. I learned a bit of the Indian culture, even though I'm not very I'm not an Indian at all. But I was really fascinated by the music, by the dance, the art. It was really another universe for me. And actually, of course, I use these influences in my mandala arts. Of course, I learned it here. But also when I'm creating my mythological creatures, I use a lot of my knowledge in mythology and also in history of religions. And of course, I'm very inspired by Indian religion. It's so rich. And also, of course, when people learned that one of my names was Parvati, they were always told me what was the story. Also, my brothers are named Bharat and Kumar. So we had the stories all the time. And my mom would read us the Ramayana and things like that. So I was really into the culture. And well, also, of course, the food and the art of life was so great. So yeah, I am really linked to Indian culture, and I'm really honored to to be presenting my work in India today.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Hello,
you.
ma'am.
Yes.
You said your name is Parvati, and my mother name is also Parvati. Coincidence.
Ah, I'm I'm very flattered, and I
Yes,
say
ma'am.
hi to your
Yeah,
mother. I'm
yes, ma'am.
very happy to have a fellow Parvati.
Yeah. So you said there is like you're doing research on some how the bacteria behave in quarantine, and that reminds
Yes,
me like some Big Brother TV show for bacteria.
yes.
Yeah. So which
I
team you think will you win?
sorry.
Which team will win in your idea?
So my bacteria lost. E. coli is not as strong as cocci.
Okay.
But actually, I was fastest, so I could go very fast with my flagella, but I wasn't as resistant to the antibiotics, and I wasn't as fast to reproduce myself. So yeah, the 3 rounds were not good for me. But the first one I won. But I want to do so many other episodes because I want people to learn about bacteria. Like, they are not just gross things, they have a behavior, they have an identity. And the more you learn about them, the more you learn how they are important into your life. For example, when I learned I had Escherichia coli on my hands, I was horrified. And then the scientist I was with was like, well, it's everywhere. It's in the cheese, it's in the meat you are eating, it's in your stomach. You need them to live. And I thought, like, it was really interesting to see bacteria just as, elements, not just something that can cause a disease. And to give them, a personality that is funny or very aggressive, or it was really something to de-dramatize them, to make them like accessible and a bit ridicule, like people you see in reality shows, and to create another link with them, to find them actually funny and a bit stupid, and to make them less scary.
Good.
Yeah, that is a great observation.
Thank you.
Hi, Adéle. Vamika.
Hi, Vamika. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining today. So it was very interesting. So I have a question, like how do you manage to get funds for pursuing your projects?
Oh, sorry.
How do you manage to get funding support for your projects, science art projects?
Most of the time it's a call, actually. So there are many calls for science art or just for artists, and I can propose science art. And also, I don't know if it's the same in India, but in France, when a lab works with an artist, they get credits and so more money next year. So they are very into it. And I have sometimes money also from institutions, from the CNRS, for example. It's the Centre National pour la Recherche Scientifique. I don't know if you've heard of it, but for scientific research in France, it's the main institution. I've also had some crowdfundings. I tried the two, and it worked quite well. And also I did had some fellowship. I think it's the word, like some prizes also, because I do many contests, and I try to send as much as propositions as I can. Actually, a big part of my work is just working on a way of presenting my work to get money. It's a very big part of my work, actually, to write it down and show the interest to get fundings, and to create an administrative status for each project with all the partnerships. And most of the time when you work with scientists, you have a legitimacy, actually. So it helps a lot, because you have all these institutions that are already your partners, because the scientist is working with them. So it helps a lot. I also, I am actually currently working on partnerships with companies. We as a TakT, we had one with the group Schertler. It's a Swiss company that is creating a very specific audio material. And actually, the teaser of Microresidence Quarantine that you've seen is made with the music that was created with the sounds of the lab. We came with the very perfectionated equipment to the lab, and we registered all the sounds of every match, every mechanics, and everything, every sound which was in the lab was recorded, and we did include it into the music. And to do that, we had this partnership with Schertler, with a contract, and we are trying currently to get some others. So yeah, I have many options to get the funding. And also, of course, I found some works by myself also, because when I sell something big, I want to create something new. It's the process.
Yeah, I was very much interested in this neuromarketing, like in which people create experiential based marketing ads. So I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Oh, sorry. English people are creating. I didn't. It was a bit.
I was actually interested in neuromarketing, in which people create experiential, like advertisement experiences. So I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
I'm not sure of the question. I'm sorry. It's I had another noise when you were talking, and I'm not sure of the question. I'm sorry.
Cool.
Could you?
Yeah. I want to know your thoughts about neuromarketing.
Oh, on neuromarketing. Okay. I actually, I'm not a specialist, but at the moment, I think that it is very strange. And well, if you are talking about the NFT that I mentioned earlier, I don't think it's just Euro market, but the art market will get a big impact of that. It's for sure. I think you've known. I don't remember the name of the artist right now. Just 2 weeks ago, an artist just sold a piece in NFT for 70 millions, I think. Right now it's booming. Every artist I know wants to get an NFT, and I'm currently working on this too, because every artist is doing that at the moment. It will be the future of art. I'm pretty convinced about it, and I think like crypto money is, well, I think like every new thing, it will go by, vagues. So for now, it's really unstable. I think even if it's working, but for art, it will be just the same. It will go by waves, but it will go big. It will go big. It is actually currently going very big, not only on the Euro market. I know the Asian market is just the same, and the American market is just the same. For now, if you are wondering, the situation in Europe for the market is quite catastrophic. I think it's mostly everywhere that with the COVID situation, it's really going bad. Well, bad and good. I know that the stock market made some people really rich, but some people really poor too. Actually, I think that the Euro market and the art market are something very separate, and that cannot really be linked right now, because right now the art market is going pretty well, actually, even if that's surprising.
Cool. Thank you.
So we have a
Thank you for
question
the
here from YouTube. So someone is asking that, ma'am, do the microorganism in a gut have influence on a gut feeling?
No, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't really hear what you're saying.
Yes, yes. The question is, do the microorganisms in our gut have influence on a gut feeling?
You are talking about the emotions, that's right? I'm not sure.
Yes, right.
Yes, okay. So yes, of course, if you are sick, you won't feel well, So yes, of course, microorganism can affect your feelings. Also, there are parasites or things like that. But most of the time, feelings are just a reaction to something exterior, and actually it's actually something physical, something psychological, and also biological, because some people are more subject to anger or things like that. And so it is a very complex process. Most of it happens in the hypothalamus, this part of the brain, and it's the place where all the molecules of the hormones are created. So, for example, if you are getting into a rage, you will have oxytocin and vasopressin coming to your hypothalamus. It will trigger some other chemical reactions in your body, as adrenaline or things like that. It's actually a very interesting science, the emotions. I recommend, I think I put Discovering Psychology by Hockenberry and Hockenberry. This is a very good book on this subject, and I would recommend it. So yeah, actually the science of emotions is very complex, and it is most of the time like biochemicals in your brain, actually. But some things are created by microorganisms. But as I told you, it's more things like being unwell because you are sick, or having a parasite in your head that makes you really, nervous or something like that.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. There's one more question how would you evaluate an artifact and set a rate for it?
How would I evaluate an artifact? So you have to consider which media is it. Is it a drawing? Is it a painting? Is it a sculpture? What is the material? Even if it's a painting, is it acrylic? Is it oil? What is the media? When you have the media, you have the size. Is it big? Is it small? You have the conservation state also. Is it a brand new thing or is it a very old with holes in it? Then you have also to find more about the artist. Is he or she very famous or dead, or what is the story? Then is it a very important piece in the career of the artist? Is it like the beginnings or the accomplishment? Then you can also ask who bought it first. Is it a very big collectioner or a collector, or is it just someone who liked it? There are many ways to approach this matter. When you have something very historical, the price is actually the knowledge you have on it. This is all you can sell. It's what you can get as information on the piece, that's for sure. When the artist is famous or alive and can confirm this is my work and things like that, it's very different. It's not only the knowledge, it's all the concept, what is the artist symbolizing. Is he like you know, the people, the guy everyone's talking about, or the guy who is in his apartment painting all day? It will not be the same price. Well, it is really a difficult question. But I worked in an expert cabinet, so I know there are. It is not very hard to give an estimation. When you see a piece, you can estimate it will be between this and this when you know the artist and you know the date. And the conservation, of course. If it is in a very bad conservation state, it will not be the same.
Okay, so one thing I want to know, that what are the prerequisites of being a science artist? Like we have to study science for it, or if we have to have knowledge or for some research or something, or just an artist would do.
Actually, I'm not a scientist. I have no formation in science, as you have seen. So a science artist is someone who is curious and wants to learn, and who is humble enough to work with a scientist who is a real scientist also, because I'm not the scientist and I know that, and I won't ever try to be the scientist. I prefer having a collaboration with someone who is legitimate to speak about science, and I'm legitimate to speak about art. The scientist is not trying to do my art, and I'm not trying to do his science. I have to collaborate if I want to create the pieces, but also I want to collaborate because I want to learn new things all the time, and it is the best way to be with great specialists that are willing to share with you their knowledge. It's the best way.
Thank you so much, ma'am. On behalf of all our team, I would like to thank you for coming and sharing your beautiful arts and your knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm really honored, and I hope you liked it and you were interested, and I hope to see the other talks later, because
Yes.
I think it's a very inspiring event.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.